Hello and welcome. The Range Ronin here, and if you are a return viewer, welcome back. In my previous review of the Glock G44, I did not include concealing the pistol, as I thought not too many folks would consider carrying the G44 as a defensive tool. Well, I was incorrect in my thinking. There are many who would consider carrying the G44. There are those with physical issues and cannot handle a larger caliber pistol due to the weight, recoil, and report. There are those who want a small pistol that can be easily hidden away but still have enough capability to stop a threat. Whether youngsters, senior citizens, or anyone in between, most people can shoot .22s well enough to defend themselves. The light recoil and report of a .22 pistol can be managed by most. Shot placement and the lessened recoil of a rimfire firearm helps mitigate flinch and speeds up follow-up shots. Aside from these reasons, the .22 rimfire ammunition is plentiful and inexpensive. And face it, nobody wants to get shot with anything. The firearms are generally inexpensive. Most rimfire firearms have a plentiful ammunition capacity, and they are generally available and legal. Plus, they are versatile. There are also those who would consider the .22 long rifle as an adequate cartridge, but do not want to attempt to conceal something the size of a Ruger Mark IV, Smith & Wesson Victory, or other large-scale pistol when they are out and about among the populace. In the woods or away from the general public, carrying a handgun, pistol or revolver, is an entirely different thing. Of course, there are other compact and subcompact pistols chambered in .22 long rifle, and this review might just get folks thinking about carrying a .22 pistol and the various means of carrying it. I just chose the Glock G44 for demonstration purposes, and will also offer up several holsters that fit my need for concealing the G44, including IWB behind the hip, appendix or cross-draw carry, and shoulder. So, let's begin. My primary holster for IWB hip carry is the Falco A-112 Hawk holster. This holster was originally ordered for the Glock G19, but with the G44's dimensions being similar to the Glock G19, the holster serves both. The A-112 Hawk is the premium holster of a lot of four: Premium, Classic, Comfort, and Basic. This premium version of the holster is in brown with a contrasting thread, although it can be ordered in black. The premium holster seems to be of better material, more weight, than the other options. The leather is very stiff, and the reinforced mouth is even stiffer than my previous holsters. These holsters are made to minimize the profile as much as possible. Metal mounting clips are sandwiched between the layers of leather and secured in place by metal rivets. The mounting clips were chosen to work with a 2-inch belt. You must work to get this holster mounted and dismounted. Again, I wanted no sweat guard and no underlay. I was really concerned with this holster for the Glock. A hybrid holster usually does not need any break-in time at all, as the shell is form-fitted to the pistol and the backing simply expands or contracts according to the wear, IWB or OWB. An all-leather holster, on the other hand, is molded front and rear to the pistol. When breaking in the holster, wear points on the holster will become immediately noticeable. However, if the holster is properly molded and pressed, stressed points should be minimized, and that means less wear on the firearm at those stress points. Now, I am not a leathersmith, but this just seems to be common sense to me. By the way, at Falco, there are no press forms, no mass production. Every holster is handmade from scratch by one person only. For the Glock, stress points would be the front of the slide, the side of the slide, and the trigger guard. The upper edges of the slide might receive some wear, but the top should be wear-free, at least from the holster. Total muzzle and front sight protection is afforded. The trigger guard is almost completely covered, and the rear sight is pretty much protected by the body. A retention screw is not included and is unnecessary. There is more than enough tension on the pistol to keep it holstered. Since this holster is intended for IWB carry, security comes in the form of the mounting itself and the fact that it is pulled tightly to the body concealed. What cannot be seen cannot be grabbed by others. The belt should be pulled tight enough to secure the pistol against the body, but not so tight that you can't get your mitt around the handle. Drawing a handgun from a concealed IWB holster takes a bit more practice than doing the same from an OWB holster worn openly. The ride height and cant of the holster cannot be adjusted. However, the holster sits low and the cant is about as close to FBI standards as can be, 15 degrees. You can either thread a belt through the mounting clips or push the mounting clips over the belt to mount the holster. I prefer the former for mounting and dismounting the holster, but I have exercised the latter on a few occasions. I normally mount the holster to the belt without the firearm. Once positioned where I want the holster, the firearm is inserted. Some say to mount the holster with the firearm inserted. I prefer not to do that. For me, with the front clip of the holster just on or just forward of the hip provides the best carry. The large grip of the G44 needs some body to tuck into to aid in concealment. A little more cant than normal positions the bottom of the grip more forward on the body. That helps to prevent printing when bending over. The truth of the matter is that the grip width of the G44 is not that much different than a government model 1911 with my usual Hogue rubber finger groove wraparound grips. Once you find the sweet spot on the body, the holster is one of the most comfortable to wear. The Gelco King Tuck is an alternative hip-ready holster to the Felco A112 Hawk holster. In fact, it was my first holster for the G19, which almost shares the same dimensions as the G44. The King Tuck Deluxe provides a comfortable backing plate made of saddle leather and lined with premium center-cut steer hide, with a rigid Kydex holster pocket for a fast draw and easy holstering. Worn inside the waistband, the King Tuck Deluxe includes Gelco's ultimate stealth clip designs for excellent concealment, stability, and easy on-off capability. The clips can be moved up or down in the corresponding holes in the leather, enabling the user to set the carry height and angle to suit their unique preferences. I prefer a greater carry angle than the standard 15-degree FBI cant, and the King Tuck is able to give me the cant that I want. While the backing is leather, the shell is Kydex, of which I am not a fan. If the G44 was stainless, I would not be concerned with the finish of the pistol being damaged. With the NDLC coating of the G44, in fact, any pistol not of stainless, the finish will eventually wear due to normal unholstering and holstering of the pistol. My second mention is that, and it is a personal preference, I do not like a sweat guard, that portion of the holster that acts as a buffer between the firearm and the body. Whenever I can, I remove the sweat guard. Unfortunately, I cannot do that with the King Tuck holster. My third mention is that the barrel, muzzle, and front sight are not fully covered, therefore are not fully protected, except by the clothing that is worn. The Gelco King Tuck Deluxe holster, however, seems to be a good carry holster. The butt of the pistol is tucked in close to the body and allows adequate enough space to properly grip the butt when drawing the firearm. Of course, and since the shell is of Kydex and non-collapsible, one-handed holstering of the firearm is like slicing through warm butter. The Cuda is an all-leather holster from Crossbreed Holsters. It can secure many a pistol because it is not form-fitted to a particular pistol. Mine works with most compact and full-size Glock pistols, up to and including the G21, G30, and G41, Springfield Armory pistols, the Sig Sauer M11A1, and CZ pistols of comparable barrel length. The CUDA holster is a leather concealed carry holster of a high-ride pancake design for autoloaders. The beauty of the CUDA holster is that it can be worn OWB, straight or cross-draw, or IWB. For IWB wear, leather attachment straps are available that anchor the holster to the belt, up to 1.75 inches, with the holster inside the trousers. The CUDA is an open-top holster with sweat shield, or as Rob Lee calls it, the flab tab. The CUDA provides full coverage protection of the firearm and has an open bottom. It is unlined and made of rough-in, smooth-out finish. Ride height and cant cannot be adjusted, but I find the ride height and cant to be adequate for IWB carry. The mouth of the holster is not reinforced and, therefore, will compress under belt tension with no firearm in the holster. Simply Rugged Holsters recommends that the firearm not be absent from the holster for long periods of time when worn IWB. With that said, I have had no issues with the CUDA when reholstering even a Glock G21, but it does take two hands to do so. I simply pull the front of the mouth out just enough to get the firearm started in the holster with the thumb of my support hand. It's really not a big deal, as I should be holstering a lot slower than I withdraw the firearm anyway. The CUDA is well formed and stitched in all the right places. All outer edges are well rounded and blended, and the outer finish is well done. Let me run you through the features and options for this holster as a short musical interlude. Once the holster is in place, the smooth-out finish of the holster allows the holster to move within the trousers. Some slippage is tolerable, however. When sitting, as say in a vehicle, a pistol with a long butt may press against the seat back, which will force the pistol forward. But this makes sitting with the pistol a bit easier. It is possible that the holster could shift out of position or ride up at the rear slightly, and might require a minor adjustment when you transition to a standing position, as when exiting a vehicle. A discreet readjustment of the holster and firearm may be necessary. I am going to introduce you to a way of making a cross-draw holster from a holster that you may already have. For me, I do not like appendix carry. I will say that if you do like appendix carry, you need to research holsters on your own, as the closest thing to appendix carry that I recommend is the cross-draw carry, which I consider much safer than the appendix carry. And the holster that I use results in a draw angle very similar to that of a vertical shoulder holster, with a minor caveat. The angle will not be what some might consider as a true cross-draw angle, but bear with me while I take you through this. I am using my Alien Gear Cloak Tuck 3.5 IWB holster for this demonstration. However, any holster that allows for multiple depth settings can be adjusted for a near cross-draw angle. I did this with a crossbreed holster for my Ruger SP101. It just takes a change in the clip locations, and the results will be as close as possible to a cross-draw angle, and concealment will be at its maximum. So, let me show you how I did it. I just shifted the rear mounting clip of the Alien Gear Cloak Tuck 3.5 IWB holster to the uppermost attachment point. Then mounted the front attachment clip to the lowest setting. This took some of the forward cant out of the holster when attached to the belt almost to a vertical position. All of this took maybe 15 seconds. The holster is positioned just a hair forward of my left hip, since I am right-handed. When standing, the holster angle, and moreover the angle of the gun butt, is near vertical, as it would be in a vertical shoulder holster system, but with approximately 95% of the holster hidden in the trousers. I need you to notice that I am no longer holstering a Glock G44, which has a grip length the same as the G19. The pistol that I am demonstrating with is the Glock G22, which has the same grip length as the Glock G17 and is no longer than that of the compact Glocks, such as the G19 or G44. The shorter grip of the G19 and G44 means that they will conceal even better than their larger brethren. When standing, the barrel of the pistol is directly aligned with my leg, which means that it is not pointed at any of my special parts, which it would be with appendix carry. Even during the draw stroke, I am not sweeping or covering anyone. I am not saying that this method will work for you, but with practice, it just might. As I mentioned, if you already have an alien gear, crossbreed, or similar holster that has multiple adjustment means for carrying your G19, G17, etc., this method also applies to them. I have used this holster on many occasions. So, since we are on the cross draw, let's take it up a notch and move to the shoulder holster. With the Gelco Classic Light 2 shoulder holster system, also serving my Glock G48 and G43, it seemed logical to me to have another to also serve the G44 and other Glock pistols. Since the G44 is a very light pistol, the Gelco Classic Light 2 shoulder holster is a good mate. And pardon me while I spend some time here, as a shoulder holster system is quite different from hip or appendix carry. As I have mentioned in other reviews, back issues and prior surgeries necessitates me to keep heavy objects off of my hips. A good shoulder holster system is an answer to that issue, at least for me. I have used the same holster to house several of my Glock pistols, to include the G19, G45, G17, G22, and G26 for example. Not being form-fitted to a particular Glock pistol allows for some flexibility. The material is, of course, leather, but it is rough out rather than smooth leather, as in the more expensive Miami Classic 2 shoulder system. The vertical offside magazine carrier accommodates magazines from G26 size to G17 size, which makes it a very versatile system. The Gelco Classic Light shoulder system is a composite of three major components: the harness, holster, and magazine carrier. Harness fasteners are also included. This version of the Classic Light came with a single magazine carrier. I opted, however, to separately purchase a double magazine carrier from Gelco. With 10+1 in the pistol, 20 rounds and 2 magazines make me feel more comfortable than one 10-round magazine. The system is made from a natural color, premium center-cut steer hide. From Gelco, we have
Premium center-cut steer hide is an extremely durable steer hide with the outer and inner layers removed, resulting in a napped texture on both sides of the leather. It has an outer layer finish that is ideal for inside the waistband and pocket holsters due to the natural grabbing ability of the napped leather. Center-cut steer hide works equally well for general holster designs, both because of its sturdiness and because its exterior does not show scuffing or scratches.
The holster was originally intended for part-time carry, or for carry around the homestead, and for me, did not need to be highly finished, but does need to be functional. The depth of the holster is perfect for the slide length of the Glock G44, or other similar length Glock pistols. The slide of the G44 just slightly peeks out from the end of the holster, with the front sight adequately protected. Pistols like the G26 and G36 also benefit from this holster, as the shorter slide is fully protected. Pistol retention is not only from the tension provided by the width of the holster, but also from the thumb brake strap and an adjustable trigger tension screw, which also serves as an anchor point for the separately purchased tie-down strap. Substantial mounting points made of polymer provide secure mounting of the holster and magazine pouch. As with any shoulder holster system made of leather, stretching of the material can occur. The user must be aware of any stretching that can affect the firearm's retention qualities, pistol or revolver. Compared to the earlier version of the classic light shoulder system that I have, an improved keyhole harness fastener system replaces the earlier screw and post design, which is evident with the classic light 2 system. The fasteners are, or what they seem to be, nylon buttons with a small and large disc. There were 5 fasteners included with the system that I received. The small disc is pushed through the key slots in the straps. Keyhole slots makes pushing the pins through the leather easy, but not without a little effort. These buttons and the conventional screw fasteners are also on the Gelco website. I ordered a spare set of both. The system should be balanced on your body. Some like the holster carried low and some like it carried high. The cant of the holster is adjustable. Some, like me, like a slight upward cant, while some like a downward cant, while some like a neutral cant. Just remember that you will be reaching across your body to retrieve the pistol, and some may have more body than others to reach around. It may take wearing the holster for some time before you decide to readjust the cant. How you are going to wear a shoulder system may require a decision on your part. For me, the shoulder system is worn over a t-shirt and under an open, loose-fitting outer shirt. In most cases, I am also wearing a non-tactical looking photographer's vest, my man purse, even during the hot summer months here in Georgia. The photographer's vest, my man purse, allows me to carry a notepad, writing utensils, wallet, cell phone earpiece, flashlight, and other sundry items like Slim Jim snacks that I use throughout the day, or when needed, and the vest affords me another layer of clothing to conceal the system. I have actually carried a camera or two when working or when out among the English. Once you assemble one shoulder system, it can be said that you pretty much assembled them all. It took me all of 15 minutes to assemble and perform a final adjustment, as I know exactly where I like my shoulder rig setting on my body. The provided nylon buttons make it much easier and faster to assemble the rig as compared to using screws and screw post. You should wear your shoulder system around the house to let it settle in on your body. You can readjust it if necessary. I wore mine for several days before I decided to up the cant of the holster a tad. Depending on your body size, you may have some excess strap to contend with. The end of the strap can be cut off, but I prefer to leave what remains of the strap alone. I use a leather punch to create an anchor hole where I need to secure excess strapping material, and then use either separately purchased screw mounts or nylon pins to fasten the wayward straps into place. With the single pouch or double pouch magazine holder, you will notice the loop piece at the bottom of the carrier. This can be swung out of the way if you decide, as I did, and not use the tie-down system. A shoulder holster is not as stable as a belt holster, OWB or IWB, and will move, although limited, about the body. Using my suspenders to secure the holster helps to mitigate some, but not all, of the holster movement. Even if my left hand is busy fending someone off me, this limited movement of the shoulder holster aids in my getting the firearm out of the holster as quickly as possible, and without using my left hand to assist. Personally, I do not care for the Gelco tied-down system, but I do use my suspenders to secure the holster. There is also a thumb brake on the shoulder holster with a substantial metal backing to ensure that unsnapping the thumb brake strap is positive with no give. The thumb brake has to be released before the firearm can be drawn from the holster. If I carry a firearm OWB, concealed or not, or shoulder carry, you can bet that there will be a secured thumb brake on that holster. Unlatching a thumb brake is as natural to me as pressing down on a 1911 safety. Never carry a firearm in a shoulder holster without a thumb brake snapped shut. With that said, getting to that thumb brake is tantamount to successfully releasing the firearm from the holster. I would venture to say that you will overshoot the thumb brake release in most cases, especially under pressure, regardless of the position of the holster. You owe it to yourself to practice, practice, practice drawing from a shoulder holster if that holster houses your life-saving device. Well, I have been about non-sucking and long in the tooth with my delivery of concealment holsters for the G44, but that's just me. It's time to let you get on with the other things in your life. I'm glad that you hung in there with me for this story. There are, of course, many holsters other than my favorites, and that would do the job of concealing and protecting a pistol like the G44 or other Glock pistols. And I invite you to do your research on such holsters and just not take my word for them. There are other gun and gear reviews to come, and I hope that you will join me for those. In the meantime, stay safe out there.